So today we're going to compare the size of fractions. Well, the first thing we need to know is to remember that is greater than is that symbol, and is less than is that symbol. So there's lots of different ways of being able to compare these. The first one is cross multiplication method. This is the one that I use all the time. I'm going to teach you lots of different ones today. This is the one that I always come back to. You just multiply it like that. 2 times 3 and bring it down on the right. 4 times 1, bring it down on the left. 4 is less than 6, so the one on the left is less than the one on the right. 6 times 2 is 12. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 is less than 12, so 1/6 is less than 2/7. 10 times 1 is 10. 2 times 5 is 10. They're equal to each other, so 5/10 is equal to 1/2. So let's look at another method. We're going to usually have a calculator with us, so we can always use the division method. Let's look at these different fractions here. These different ones, let me see. On the left, 1 over 11 and 1/8, which one is bigger? Well, you take 1 divided by 11 in the calculator, it gives you 0.909, a little more than 9 cents. Let me see, and you got 1/8 is going to be 1.125. Well, 9 cents is less than 12.5 cents, so less than. Let's try it again. 3 divided by 4 is 0.75, 75 cents. And 4 divided by 3 is 1.33 repeating, 75 cents, less than $1.33. Well, look at this. 7 over 12 and 7/13. 13ths are smaller than 12ths, so that's going to be greater on the left. Let's divide them. 0.5833, a little more than 58 cents, and 0.5384, almost 54 cents. 0.58 is going to be greater than. So again, these 13ths are smaller than the other. Let's try another way. Let's find the least common denominator and change these. 6 and 8 both go into 24, so I have to change this. Multiply times 4 and times 4. That's going to give me a 4, and 8 times 3 is 24. 2 times 3 is 6. 4 24ths is less than 6 24ths. Let's see. Let's just put all the answers there and see how we actually get those. Again, 4 24ths is less than 6 24ths. Now, how do I get 9 12ths and 10 12ths? Well, 4 times 3 and 3 times 3, 9. 6 times 2 and 5 times 2 is 10. 9 is less than 10, less than. So to get tenths, the least common denominator is 10 times 2 times 2. 10 stays the same. 8 is greater than 7. Well, what if you don't know the least common denominator? Well, let's try a different method. Let's just find any denominator that will work. Let's erase all those. Instead of least common denominator, we're just going to do the product of the denominators. Well, that's going to give us the same denominator each time. Let's just multiply them both by each other. Times 8 times 8, times 6 times 6. And let's see what we get. Let's see, we've got 48 on the bottom and 48 on this bottom. Well, 2 times 6, 1 times 8, I've got 12. And 1 times 8 is 8. 8 is less than 12. 1/6 is less than 2/8. Let's try it again. Times 6 times 6 times 4 times 4. It's going to give me 24 on the denominator both times. Well, let's see what happens with the top. 5 times 4 is 20. 3 times 6 is 18. 18 is less than 20. 3/4 less than 5/6. Again, times 10 times 10 times 5 times 5, we're going to have the same denominator, 50. Let's see what happens to the top. 7 times 5 is 35. 4 times 10 is 40. 35 is less than. 40 is greater than. So 4/5 is greater than 7/10. That's another way that you could do that. But let's see what's going on here. Let's clean this up a little bit and look at our answers. Notice that all we really did was multiply the tops by the denominator of the bottom. This is the exact same method we were using before. This is the cross multiplication method. 4 times 5 is 20. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 is less than 20. 5 times 7 is 35. 10 times 4 is 40. So again, we're back to where we started. we're still getting the same answers just by cross-multiplying. That's really why that works, because we're still using the product of denominators method. So I went through that fairly quickly, but I hope you're able to see lots of different ways of doing this. Just use whatever works for you. Again, I usually use cross-multiplication, but you can use a calculator. You can use really any of these methods, and it's all going to work the same every time.